Hey, what's crack-a-lackin' sports fans? We got a little NBA DFS to talk about. So we're members only, free to the public today. It's Sunday. It's Mother's Day. I'm sure you guys got a lot to do. And I don't know, guys. Let's just get into it. Real simple. Click the thumbs up button if you don't mind. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. And let's see what we're talking about today. So first game on the docket today is going to be Dallas against Cleveland. We got Kristaps Porzingis is out. We got Maxi Kleber is questionable. As far as this game goes, I think you can expect Luka to be relatively popular on this slate. We're not exactly rich with studs. The fact that he's small forward eligible is kind of big for him. He makes a lot of sense in cash games. He was not good against Cleveland the other day, but he was not good because they won by the lot. You still have Dallas with a lot to play for, right? Like they're down there in the 5 seed. You kind of want to stick there. You don't want to dip. I mean, they're probably not going to, but you don't want to take a chance. So they'll play this game to win it. Games in Cleveland. Maybe the Cavaliers will keep this one competitive. Probably not. I think Luka can be faded in GPPs. So, I mean, do what you want with that. They got a bunch of other blah plays, on the Mavericks today. Hardaway's played well lately. He's capable of upside, but 6,100, I don't have a ton of desire to go here. I don't think he'll be wildly popular. If Kleba is out again, we've been using Dwight Powell with a lot of success lately. He wasn't great last docket, more of just a kind of a ho-hum play. I think his ownership will be real low today, and he almost fouled out last game, didn't get his rebounds like normal, so I think he could be like a low-owned GPP play, but not overly enticed by anybody from Dallas outside of Luka, who you can expect to be relatively chalky. We got no Darius Garland, no Dellavedova in this one. I don't think the Cavaliers are a team that you're really going to be looking at very carefully today. Dallas is a pace down, drag it out defensive type of game. Really wasn't anything from the Cavaliers I was trying to get into. I still can't get over the shock that Anderson Varejao is back in the league, but hey, that's either here or there. All right, so the big news on New Orleans is we know BI is out for a while. Zion is out indefinitely. Oh, to take this back, I thought Ingram was out for a few. Doubtful. Okay, I thought he was missing a few games. Never mind. So he is doubtful. What you're going to get here is you're going to get some popular plays from New Orleans Pelicans. Let's take a look at Lonzo Ball. He's a little pricey at 8,400. He's capable of upside on this price. Didn't have a great day the other day against Philly. Philly's a tough matchup. I don't think he's anything close to a lock, but I can see why anybody would use him in this spot. Eric Bledsoe is going to play big minutes. He's fine. I would firmly look at him as fine. He could bust. He could be good. He's a fine play. I do not label him as a priority. And if Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who looks like he's going to come back today, that's not good for Bledsoe. No, I don't think Walker's going to play huge minutes. He hasn't played in a month, but he should get in there for 20-some and eat into those guys a little bit. Keir Lewis Jr. is a guy that, gets a little bit of run. He had a good game last time out. Nickeil Alexander-Walker being back isn't good for him. I could see why, though, at 3,400, you would want to give him some look at shooting guard. You talk about their centers. Hernan Gomez is likely to draw the start like he typically does. He plays in the mid-20s. He's usually good for about 30 points. He's an okay play, in my opinion, today. I'm a little bit more intrigued by Jackson Hayes. Assuming Adams is out, and Adams is questionable. Hayes is also very capable of upside. And if Adams is out and he comes off the bench, he'll be lower owned. He's less expensive. He's a little bit more erratic, but I like the upside he proposes in GPPs a little bit more. And then you're going to have James Johnson. He did not have a monster game last time out, but assuming these guys are all out, he's 3,800. He'll fill in his minutes right here. He's very capable of a better game. Easier matchup with Charlotte. So I think James Johnson is the guy who'd get my immediate focus. And of course, Najee Marshall is another guy that could be on your radar. Did not play a lot of extra minutes last time out in a competitive game. So that's a little bit of a curious point. I think for me, James Johnson is the most likely candidate to make my squad in this one. Still have to wait and find out about Steven Adams. Obviously, if Adams is in, we're not looking at Hernan Gomez or Hayes. Otherwise, the centers might be in play. They threw some extra minutes to guys like Gabriel last game. He had a nice one, but I would be really reticent to go right back here. Don't know enough about him to want to play him. Plus, we're not loaded with must-play studs on here, so we don't necessarily need the cheap guys unless we really, really like them. From the Charlotte side of things, they are loaded with guys that I think are playable, but really nobody on like earmarking, like LaMelo, Terry Rozier, Malik Monk. These guys could all be fine. But none of them are anywhere close to must play in my eyes. I think if I were to get to anybody, it would probably be PJ Washington. consistently steady. If he were like to fit my last spot in the forward position, I'd be fine with it. But he is also far from a must. All right, Minnesota, Orlando. So let's start out with the Orlando side of things. Early day projections show Mo Bamba is not being that high owned, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. We got no Wendell Carter. Carter has already been ruled out. We know Okiki is out. We know Shaq hasn't played here in like 20 years. Isaac hasn't played all year. I like Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba is a fantasy stud. Is he a great real-life player? Nah. No, he's not. But, I mean, there's even room for growth here. This guy's shot 1 of 13 from 3 over his past couple of games. He can make a couple of those. There's no reason to think in this matchup he couldn't go for 45 to 50. You're telling me he's not chalk? I don't care. I'm interested in every single format. I like Mo Bamba. He is a good DFS player. In a couple of teams that are out of it, he should get every minute of run he can possibly get. As far as the rest of the Orlando Magic go, arguments could be made for Cole Anthony. No chance he makes an ideal lineup for me. Or RJ Hampton. Talked about him last time out. He was firmly, meh. He was okay. At this price and this matchup, it's about how I feel about him again today. He's a little bit more expensive, but we saw how well he was playing prior to last game. You know, he had less rebounds than he'd been having, less assists than he's been having, no blocks or steals. He's very capable of rolling right back up into the 30s. So I am still interested in RJ Hampton. RJ Hampton, good Lord, who I don't think will be overwhelmingly popular on the slate. Dwayne Bacon is another one. He is not a priority for me, but he's filling in admirably. You know, they're missing a lot of their offensive players, so at least Dwayne Bacon can shoot the ball a little bit, so he is in play. I think I'd be more likely to end up on RJ Hampton, but, you know, take that for what it's worth. Wagner is playing minutes. I would never play him, but Bamba is like, he's the play for me. You'd be a firm recommended the way I look at things right now. I got 2 centers I like a lot. Let's move over to the next game. As of right now, Karl Anthony Towns is listed as being relatively popular on this slate. I like Vooch better. Similar price tags. Call it recency bias, call it whatever you want. Karl Anthony Towns is just not playing that well. Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell have taken over a big part of what they're doing offensively, taking a lot more outside shots with them. You know, Vanderbilt's a guy I could see getting some love today as well. And coming off one of his better games, I can understand that. I don't know if you're going to need the cap savings or not. But I'll take Vooch over Towns. And I think Towns might be more popular. I can see why this game would be attractive. I think it's riddled with guys you could take a look at. You know, the Hernan Gomez's of the world and stuff like that. But really, when it comes down to it, I like the centers. Or no, I like the center on the other side. And then there's a whole bunch of guys from Minnesota that are, you know, quote unquote in play. You know, Rubio's had some amazing games lately. I don't think he gets a lot of love today. I think he could be a bit of a GPP sleeper. You know, he's also a bust waiting to happen. These are a lot of good games recently, so don't get suckered in and like go full bore on Ricky Rubio. We know who Ricky Rubio is. He's got 3 monster games lately, and that's really nice. He's got a whole bunch of stinkers lately and the rest of the season. So if you run multiple lineups, I could see getting to Ricky Rubio, but in a deal lineup, I don't trust it. Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell. I could see them being really, really good today. It's hard to make them a priority. This is a team that's been playing better basketball, but they're a little bit erratic with their pecking order and everything like that. So I'm not sure I really get to anybody over here. All right, next up, let's talk about the Chicago Bulls. And this is a team on their last legs. Currently in the 11th seed, 3 games behind Indy. Indy's floundering a little bit. Chicago's all of a sudden picked up steams with back-to-back wins. Coincidentally, that's when Zach LaVine came back. I say coincidentally. Obviously, it's not a coincidence. The guy that I'm really interested in today is going to be Nikola Vucevic. Putting the team on his back. Easy matchup with Detroit. I mean, I know it's not as simplistic as look at recent production, but look at his recent production compared to Karl Anthony Towns. Matchups are similar. Give me Vooch. Vooch has played amazing the last 2 days with Zach LaVine back, taking a little pressure off of him. They need this game. They need it. Like, this is it. Like, they can't lose again the rest of the year, right? So I like Vooch a lot. He would be the main piece of this team that I would take a look at. They got other secondary pieces that aren't the worst plays in the world, but Vucevic is the play for me on this one. I mean, I think Vuce might be my stud. So I'm buying what he's selling right now. And importantly, Chicago needs wins. As far as Detroit goes, I'm just going to opt out of talking about them for the day because I firmly expect some crazy announcements about what they're doing. Let's just glance at Fantasy Labs real quick. Harrison Barnes doubtful, Buddy Hield questionable, Ellington out. Okay, Josh Jackson out, Diallo out, Grant's questionable, Plumlee out. Okay, so I'm glad we did glance in here. We just got a whole bunch of news about Detroit, and there's going to be some cheaper guys in play. And the problem is they've had enough of these games lately that a guy like Killian Hayes is priced up at 5,100. Can he hit upside here? Maybe, but not as enticed by him at this price. Frank Jackson, I think the guy that might, well, no, his price is up farther than I would have expected too. Sekou Doumbouya. He's playing his best basketball right now. I'm okay with him at 4,700. Far from a priority, but with Grant, assuming Grant's out, missing these other guys, Stewart's the guy that just at this price tag, he ain't doing it for me lately. I'd rather get to Bamba. Yeah, definitely give me Bamba at 300 more, and I like Vucevic a lot more. So no chance he's making my lineup. So Detroit might have a little value, but not overly intrigued by it. This is definitely kind of an ugly slate. All right, Phoenix against the Lakers. We still don't have LeBron James. I don't know, man. It's not the sexiest of games, is it? Did Caruso end up playing against Portland? Yeah, he did. His price is up. It's a bad matchup. Not really a game. Let's go team by team that I was super excited about at all. Man, remember when Montrezl Harrell was a thing? It's weird seeing him down there at that price point. I don't really like anybody on the Lakers. It's possible a bunch of guys are out, maybe. And I'm like a Macklemore could be like a GPP flyer, but not as of right now. Looks like, other than Cam Johnson, they're running a pretty healthy squad out here today for the Suns, who could really just stomp the Lakers possibly. So not a game I'm super interested. All right, let's talk about Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox is questionable. And as far as being still alive, let's see where the Kings are. They're technically still alive. Needed that win the other night. That was a bad loss for them. I mean, they're going to play to win tonight, you would assume. DeLon Wright got a major price bumped up to 7,700. So he's been really good in the absence of these guys. I still think he's technically in play if all these guys are out, but far from a must. And then you start wondering, well, if Fox is out and Hield gets downgraded to questionable, Terrence Davis becomes a really strong look, in my opinion, because he'll have to do a lot. Kyle Guy could hypothetically be in play right here. Barnes sounds like he's doubtful, right? We read doubtful. Let's double check that. Hield's questionable. Barnes is doubtful. Okay. Fox remains out. Glad we double checked. Daniel Theis is now listed as questionable, which only increases my love of Nikola Vucevic. So I think Terrence Davis may be a look. Mo Harkless is a guy that might play enough minutes that he's going to be wildly in play, especially with how bad Oklahoma City is. I mean, Mo Harkless is not a great DFS player, but like especially if like Hield were to be out. And then that takes me over to Marvin Bagley. What a utter disappointment the other day. What a bad game. I didn't watch this one. I have no explanation for you. So since we saw all these guys come out, Marvin Bagley has crushed with a 40 spot and a 47. He's also dudded big time with an 8 and a 25. Your question's as good as mine. I wish I had watched Sacramento against OKC Friday night, but I actually did something on Friday night, which is rare. Bagley's got to be in play, though. And then that makes me a little bit more interested in Holmes, who played his most minutes from coming back from injury the other day. But it's hard for me to get to him over Vooch, and I like Bamba better at $200 more. So OKC's got a bunch of filler pieces. They all kind of suck. You never know what they're going to do on a daily basis. I mean, Maladon was not good last night, but they got stomped by Golden State. This could be a more competitive game. He is capable of upside, especially if Ty Jerome's out. You feel safer with his minutes. This is a bad basketball team, though. So once again, this goes back to what I was talking about with, like, you can kind of assume Luka's going to be relatively popular because there's value all over the place. You put Luka in right here, and then you take a quick look at New Orleans, and this is where, like, I could get, depending on who's in or out, Kira Lewis, even if you want to go Najee Marshall and James Johnson, I can understand that. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on who's in and who's out for New Orleans. But I like Vooch and Bamba a lot. I don't love Doncic today, but I do prefer the fact that he's no longer on a back-to-back. And maybe Cleveland plays better and he plays in the fourth quarter. Because he was out of that game, I want to say, with like 16 minutes to go. Hard to hit upside when you don't play the last 16 minutes. Minnesota's got a bunch of so-so plays. RJ Hampton could fit into here pretty nicely. And if Daniel Theis were to be out, then I think Thad Young could be wildly more in play. This guy puts up DFS points in a hurry, so we'll keep our eyes peeled on that one. So that's what we got for today, guys. Thank you, and have a great day.